Hey creatures of the night, this is John, also known as Mr. Speed 69. I thought I might share a little bit of my music collection with you. It covers anything from 50s rock to the British invasion to British hard rock, 80s metal, that type of thing. I thought I'd show you my collection a little bit and then maybe move on within the next few weeks to doing some reviews. I never thought much about doing reviews until I checked a guy out on YouTube. His name's Ralph Vieira. He does a lot of really cool reviews. If you're into Sabbath, Kiss, Def Leppard, Wasp, Merciful Fate, things like that, he does some really cool reviews. Also does some really cool videos to CD tracks, which you can tell he really put a lot of time into, so definitely check him out. And I'm going to get started here, and I think a lot of these CDs are really essential to any music collection. That's just my take on it. I think you'll find that after the 80s metal, I'm pretty much done at that point. A lot of my friends tell me that I'm kind of stuck in a musical rut after that, but oh well, nobody's right, nobody's wrong. So maybe you can give me some feedback, tell me how you feel. I'm going to start off here with this collection right here. This pretty much starts out with the Beatles. I got some of these reissued pressings for the US releases. The only ones that I bothered to get really is the Meet the Beatles, because it always was a favorite of mine, and I did get the Butcher cover because you gotta have that. But the rest of them, I think that the British releases are a whole lot better. Everybody knows that. But with the Beatles, you kind of got to watch what you're getting into, because you don't want to buy it twice. Got their first British release, which is Please Please Me. This was released in 1963. I'll just kind of give a quick little rundown of each one. I'm not going to go into track by track because I will do that later when I do a review. This is With the Beatles, British release. And I really do like the way they did these remasters. It's just like having a mini album. It's really cool. The packaging is awesome. And next up we have Hard Day's Night, Beatles for Sale. This was right after their first US tour, and you kind of got to take into account that this was a real road-weary band at that time. Prior to coming to the US, they did tour extensively in England and in Europe, and pretty much you can tell by the song track listing on here, not a lot of original compositions, a whole lot of covers, a lot of Chuck Berry, some Carl Perkins, and not really a whole lot of compositions by Lennon and McCartney on this particular album, but cool stuff nonetheless. Help. I like this one a lot too. It's got some really good songs on it. British release. US releases of the Beatles movie soundtracks, you're kind of getting gypped on that, I think. You get 4 or 5 Beatles tunes. The rest is going to be some orchestrations, I guess probably by George Martin or whoever. Not really a fan. Rubber Soul. And I really, really like this album. This right here was the game changer. I think this turned the Beatles into a whole different beast right here. I mean, this is the beginning of their experimental period. I think as a band, this band probably evolved more than any other band in history. And this is the beginning right here. Excellent album. This is going to be Revolver. A lot of people really, really like this album. And I really do too. I guess you can kind of call it the beginning of acid rock maybe. Released in 1966, a little bit psychedelic, kind of the beginning of that period. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. As you can see, once again, excellent packaging. Looks just like the original album. I love the digipack format. I think it's great. It's also a space saver. It's pretty cool. Awesome album. Not my favorite. A lot of people's favorite though, but I like every track on it, but we'll get to my favorite. Magical Mystery Tour. Really cool album. Once again, movie soundtrack. Kind of a strange movie, but awesome soundtrack. I mean, you got things on here that I think are really cool, like the instrumental track Flying. Check it out if you get a chance. Then it goes into the Blue Jay Way. Really, really cool stuff. Second side of this album, you get a lot of the hits that were recorded in like November '66, beginning of the Sgt. Pepper era. You've got Strawberry Fields, Penny Lane. This one is my absolute favorite Beatles album right here. Just titled simply The Beatles, referred to as the White Album. Double album. I think this album is just a great mix. It totally encompasses the whole gauntlet. I mean, it's got straight ahead rock and roll, acid rock, a little bit of folk, a little bit of country, some blues on it. It's just an awesome album. There's a little bit of something for everybody on here, and check it out if you ever get a chance. One of the greatest albums, in my opinion, of all time. Next up is going to be Yellow Submarine, another soundtrack album. Kind of the weakest of the whole lot as far as the soundtrack albums go. It's got a few good moments on it, but really, probably the best thing I like on it is Hey Bulldog. Awesome tune, awesome lyrics, great bass line by Paul. And this next album would probably have to be my second favorite. Probably sonically the best engineered and produced album I can think of, Abbey Road. Every tune on here is a standout, all killer, no filler. Absolute greatness right here, Abbey Road. Definitely give that a listen. Every fan should have one. Every music fan should have one. And next on the list is going to be their last album, Let It Be. And it was kind of going back to their roots. They've done a lot of slick production, experimental things, starting with Rubber Soul. And this was just kind of them getting back. And a lot of the songs are just stripped down bare. I really like I Dig a Pony, One After 909. That's actually one of the first songs that Lennon and McCartney wrote together. I Mean Me Mine. Awesome album. And by the way, if you do get the Let It Be album, one thing I've always noticed is, and it always bothered me, is that any kind of compilation that you get by the Beatles, it seems that the guitar solo in Let It Be is kind of overshadowed by Billy Preston's keyboards. And it really got on my nerves because it's one of George's best solos, and you'll only get it on this album. Killer solo. The Beatles Past Masters. And it used to be Volume 1, Volume 2. And basically what it is, if you do get the whole collection of British releases, you did have to buy this with it because this is all the singles. And like I say, it's Disc 1 and Disc 2. Really good stuff that's not available on album.